What are the top 6 biggest mistakes that you can make on test day when you're taking the GRE? Stick around and find out today on this episode of Navigating Academia. What's up, everybody? My name is Dr. Phoenix Singh, and I want to warmly welcome you to this episode of Navigating Academia, your leading source for guidance on how to advance your career in academia. Now, as always, I appreciate the love, so please do take a second to like and share this video with your friends, your colleagues, and your students. Subscribe to our channel, hit that bell so you get notifications every time that we post new original content, and also subscribe to us via the social media accounts below. So let's jump right in. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you what I perceive to be the biggest 6 test day mistakes that you can make when you're taking the GRE, or to be honest with you, any graduate school exam, right? Anything. You could be taking the MCAT, you could be taking the LSAT, whatever country that you find yourself in, because I know that a lot of these are North America based, right? But whatever country you find yourself in, the day you're going to be taking a massive test, be it to be able to get into, an undergraduate institution or a graduate school program, it is essential that you avoid making these 6 test day mistakes, okay? So let's go ahead and jump right in with number 1. Mistake number 1 is not knowing and then practicing the route to the test center. Now, in some cases, the test center where you're going to be taking the GRE is going to be on your campus, let's say, if you're still, at the undergraduate level. And if that's the case, then, simply, standing up or whatever, walking across campus, going to the place, seeing what the room looks like. You can go inside, maybe not the exact room where the computers are where you're going to take the GRE. However, right, you should be able to go inside, see, this, I know this sounds ridiculous, but, getting a sense of like the 5 senses. So, this is what this place smells like. This is what it looks like. The lighting is a little bit dimmer than I thought it was going to be. Or, wow, they're doing construction outdoor. I should emotionally budget. Right? This is a huge idea, a huge concept, emotional budgeting. I should emotionally budget for there being noise outside, etc. Also to get a sense of, how much traffic is there. If this thing is across town, like when I ended up taking the GRE, so I was up at Tufts in Boston for my undergrad, oh my gosh, it took like at least 45 minutes to an hour for me to be able to get to the test center. And I was taking, the subway, I was taking taxis, I was walking, there was all these different elements and all for me to get there. And the amount of traffic, whether the subway was off a little bit by 5 minutes, it's a really nerve-wracking day. On the day of the test, you're going to be freaking out internally no matter how much you've prepped. And to be honest with you, if you're not freaking out, that would be more of a red flag to me than if you are, having test-taking anxiety on the day, right? But make sure that you practice the route at the same time of day. If you're going to take that test at 10 a.m. and you go at 6 p.m., you're not going to get a realistic sense of anything, right? Go at the same time. Do a little test run, okay? So know the route, practice the route, get a sense of the environment where you're actually going to be taking the test. Mistake number 2 is not wearing comfortable clothes, okay? And there are a few other things here, right? But really not wearing comfortable clothes, I would say, is the big one. Keep in mind that if you got some like big old burly jacket or whatever with 1,000 pockets, the likelihood is that they're not gonna let you go and sit in with that, right? So make sure that if it's like the dead of winter, right, that you're wearing, several layers of comfortable clothes. The goal of this day is not for you to be the most fashionable person in the GRE test-taking room, right? It's for you to be as comfortable as possible. If you want to wear sweatpants, wear sweatpants. If you want to wear a sweatshirt, wear a sweatshirt. If you want to wear a baggy double XL shirt and you're a size, child small, that's okay. Just do it, right? Whatever makes you feel comfortable and confident on the day. And this includes other things. So for example, earplugs, right? Earplugs are essential. I have another video where I talk about recommendations for how you can score most highly on the GRE, and I'll go ahead and put a card and link that in the description below. And one of the things I always talk about is really getting a goodness of fit when you're practicing, and the goodness of fit should be between how you plan on taking the test and how you're practicing. And because you're always allowed to wear earplugs, they'll give you earplugs there, right? Then, practice with earplugs. So always, if you've been practicing wearing earplugs, wear earplugs. This is a really big thing, guys. And the same thing when you're actually there, just as a side note, I've mentioned in other videos, but get extra pencils, extra scratch paper, even if it's only one extra pencil or they'll only give you one extra piece of scratch paper. Take what they'll give you because it's really going to assist you, especially if a pencil breaks or something like that. You don't want to be spending the time, which is very valuable, especially getting out of that mental flow state, to stand up, walk over there, get the thing and bring it back, right? You want to do that, okay? So that's mistake number 2, though mostly has to do with clothing, with what you're actually wearing. Mistake number 3 is not eating breakfast, okay? Or if you do eat breakfast, eating a lot of refined carbohydrates like refined sugars, or not drinking enough liquid, specifically not drinking enough water. If you wake up in the morning and you've just kind of like forgotten to do this, taking the test, takes hours, and it is very mentally taxing, right? Your body, even though you're not going for a sprint, is going through an internal psychological marathon. So it's very important that you are properly nourished. Make sure that you have some bars to be able to bring with you, right? Some protein bars, power bars, whatever you like to bring, right? But again, preferably nothing too high in refined sugars. And the reason is that refined sugars are going to result in a very steep increase in your insulin levels, and then a deep crash in your insulin. And you don't want to be going through insulin cycles when you're actually, insulin rises and crashes. When you're going and taking this test, you don't want to do that, okay? Same thing with water, right? If we're not properly hydrated, our brain isn't going to work as well as it could. We want to make sure that we're having, a nice, a high-fat, high-protein breakfast with some carbohydrates, right? But if you're going to do them, like whole grains, as organic, everything as organic as possible, and make sure that you're having enough water. Now, don't down water to the point where you got to go pee every 5 seconds, because that's going to drive you nuts, right? But make sure that you're properly hydrated, okay? This is going to make sure that you are at peak performance physically for the day of the test itself, all right? It's also important that in terms of what you eat, make these decisions the night before, or just have a plan. Don't wake up in the morning and say, okay, what should I throw together? That's not a good idea, okay? Just make sure that maybe the night before you've laid everything out, you've already packed your backpack or your satchel, or whatever you've got to be able to bring with you. On the day of the test, I don't want you to have to do any really conscious thought or anything like that. I want it to be as relaxing as possible, because I know you'll be stressed, and I want you to get to that location as easily as possible and just rock that thing. Mistake number 4 is last minute cramming. Some people are good at taking tests, and God bless, honestly. I am not one of them. I'm not great at taking tests. I believe that the average individual should really have a strong game plan for preparation, in terms of how to properly prep for the test to be able to avoid last minute cramming. If you were cramming at the last minute for these tests, what's going to end up happening is that most information is not going to get deeply encoded neurologically, right? It's going to stay in working memory. So maybe you'll be able to keep it for a very short period of time, but then it's going to be completely gone. A little bit of information is going to get deeply encoded, but the rest is kind of gone. If you take it in small chunks over long periods of time, you can deeply encode the preponderance of information that you're studying, and then you're going to be ready to rock on test day. So it's definitely a mistake for the test day itself that morning you're just you're bringing 6 books with you and you're ripping through everything. You wake up early, you're looking through, you're trying to memorize more vocab words and these things. It should not be like that. On the day of the test, you should not be stressing out trying to prep. Prep time is over on the day of the test, okay? So avoid last minute cramming. Mistake number 5 is not getting enough sleep. Now, this seems obvious, but essentially, if you don't get enough sleep, right, especially, deep level sleep, right, it's like delta wave and REM sleep, which is kind of restorative sleep, right, then your brain is not going to be functioning properly. And what that means is that you will not be optimized to be able to pay significant enough attention to be able to make the best decisions, have the highest decision-making capacity, good judgment capacity. You won't have that. So my recommendation is to be able to really set a solid sleep schedule well in advance of the test day, okay? And this way, you know what time you're going to go to bed, you know what time you're going to wake up, you're not getting too much sleep, you're not getting too little sleep, you're really hitting that sweet spot day after day, such that even though you're anxious, you'll be able to find a way to really chill yourself out, get enough sleep, and wake up nice and refreshed to be able to rock the test. But make sure you get enough sleep. This is not the day to wake up and not get enough sleep, okay? And have all this anxiety. Not the time. And last but not least, mistake number 6 is arriving late. This is closely related to number 1 in terms of not knowing or practicing the route to the test center. Do not arrive late. The amount of anxiety you're going to have is going to be extraordinary. I recommend arriving at least 15 to 20 minutes early so that, again, you can reacquaint yourself, because you should be acquainted already. You can reacquaint yourself with your setting, right? Okay, you're habituated to the sounds, to the smells, to all of these things. You can, get your earplugs, have your materials and these sorts of things. You can be ready to go, right? Well in advance of the time that you're officially scheduled to be able to take the test, okay? You can just get used to everything. That's very important. If you get in there late and you have to sit down, you're not used to anything, and then you just have to go, you're gonna be freaking out. It's a really bad decision. So that's a big mistake. Do not arrive late. Practice makes perfect. Take a look at the weather the night before, what it's gonna be like at the time you gotta be there. Take a look at the traffic well in advance to know whether you need to leave even earlier than you were initially scheduling. But set all of these things up, these mechanisms, before the day of the test. All right, everybody, thank you so much for stopping by. Again, please do take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that bell so you get notifications when we post new content. And also, please do, if you enjoyed this video or you think it would be relevant to somebody you know, share it on social media, share it in an email with them. We'd really appreciate it. And please do take a moment to comment below, especially if you liked the video. The reason isn't to stroke our egos, but rather because it really helps us in the YouTube algorithm so that we show up in more people's searches to be able to help this channel grow. This is a deep passion project of ours to be able to build all of this content for you. We're so pleased to have you with us here on the journey. And obviously, if there's any additional topic areas that you want us to address, please put that down in the comments below, and we'll make sure to get that on the list of episodes to be able to create for you. Signing off, everyone. Thank you again for stopping by. And don't forget to get out there, take chances, and be your best self. Thank you so much for stopping by, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you here as always. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more in this series on navigating academia, please click on one of these links over here to be able to view more original content. I hope to see you there.